lady, man. Alright. Crazy people. Just another example why you got to be on guard when riding a motorcycle. This brings me to what today's episode is about. Aerodynamics, maneuverability, and skill. All of them are important when riding a motorcycle. Obviously, motorcycles are designed to be aerodynamic, and so are helmets and everything else. Maneuverability is being able to move around and be loose, especially when you're in traffic conditions. I saw that lady coming into my lane because I was aware, but more so I wanted her to know I was there, which is why I got as close as I did. I don't recommend doing that, but it spreads awareness to other drivers that they're not the only ones on the road. That lady was completely in her own world, and now she realizes, hey, somebody else is here too. It freaked her out. Which brings me to skill. It's good to be able to ride a motorcycle, and anybody can say they ride a motorcycle if they just ride straight or go to work for 30 years in a row. But skill is much more than that. Skill is practicing ongoing riding a motorcycle. Whether you go to a parking lot and set up cones, or you just practice doing U-turns in a slow speed environment. Whatever kind of practice you do increases and maintains the skill set that you have, and that's very important when you ride a motorcycle. I think when people go back and forth between cars and motorcycles, they get complacent because anybody can just get in a car and drive. It doesn't really take any skill. But maintaining your balance at slow speeds when other obstacles are about, that's where the skill comes in, and it's extremely important. Real quick, I want to tell you about a website that I came across called roadsideamerica.com. I'm not sponsored by them. In fact, it's a pretty low maintenance website. I'm not sure they have sponsors. What's cool about it is you put in the city in which you're either traveling to or you live in, and they list roadside attractions that are just odd. So I did this today. I got on my computer and I typed in Frisco, Texas, which is where I am, and I found a roadside attraction that we're gonna go visit. I figured today was a good day to talk about the incident that happened to me recently on the way there. So when I ride a motorcycle, I don't like to just go straight. It's easy to just sit here and go straight for miles and miles. I don't like to do that. I like to roll back and forth on my tire. Motorcycle tires are round and they're designed for maneuverability. So when I ride, typically I don't ride in a straight line, especially when it's wide open like this. I tend to lean and I'll zigzag in my lane. I like to keep my tires well rounded and warm, but also I like to keep practicing, right? Even if I'm just riding in a straight line. It also makes me visible to other people around me. Either they think I'm drunk or whatever the case, but they stay away from me, and that gives me my safety zone that I want anyway. Well, the other day I was riding on my way home and I was behind another car, and I was doing the same thing I always do. So I'm leaning from one side to the other like this. The other car suddenly slams on their brakes, and I have maybe 10 feet where I can react, and then they swerve out of my lane to the left. I realized the reason they did it was because there was a car at a dead stop with their flashers on, and I was mid-lean. I was all the way over like this. Now, you don't apply the brakes in a lean. You have less traction, and you're more likely to either go down in one of two ways. The best way to come through and resolve that situation is if there's a hazard and you're mid-lean or mid-turn, you want to straighten up the handlebars and get upright, and then you can brake hard. Slam on the brakes and come to a stop. Or at least enough to control the bike and maneuver. The other option is, if you don't have time to straighten up and brake, is to try and continue your turn or use your turn to your benefit to avoid the obstacle. In my case, the car was blocking the entire lane. All I could do was come to a stop. There was no turning around it. It was dangerous, and luckily I wasn't traveling at a high rate of speed or anything like that. I was able to get through it. But it just highlights in one of those slow speed skills that if you don't practice, you need to think about. Being mentally prepared is just as important. So back to the website. I typed in Frisco, Texas, and it told me that nearby is a large statue of a shuttlecock. Fun fact, a shuttlecock gets its name from the back and forth volley that takes place during the game. It's being shuttled. And because it has what appears to be feathers, it's named after a rooster, giving it the combination name Shuttlecock. So this location is a facility where they play and train badminton, which is pretty cool. I don't really know a lot about badminton, but as I was reading about shuttlecocks and the history of them, one thing I did come across was the fact that they designed them to be aerodynamic, maneuverable, and obviously it takes skill to play badminton. And that directly relates to riding a motorcycle. All of those things directly relate, especially to what just happened on the beginning of this video and what happened to me the other night. Plus, it's a cool excuse to go for a motorcycle ride to see a big-ass statue of a shuttlecock. So, that's exactly what we're going to do. Alright, so I know for this video we went to the Shuttlecock statue, but the real point behind this video was slow speed maneuvers. It's really important to practice slow speed maneuvers. As you can see, I'll just find a parking lot and practice. Out here is good. I'm alone and I'm not bothering anybody. I still have problems going to the right. For some reason, my right U-turns, I'll go down one line straight and I'll try and turn around and come back on the same line. I can't really do that on the right. I can do it on the left, but on the right, I end up going to the lane over. It's just something for me to work on. But there's always something to be worked on, and that's kind of the whole point of all of this. Stay safe, and until next time, guys.